Okay, let's talk about one of the most frustrating things that can happen when you're working on your own car. You do the job, you replace a bad sensor, and now the car is completely dead in the driveway. It's a terrible feeling, but hey, don't worry, you're in the right place. We're going to walk through a solid diagnostic guide to figure out exactly what's going on. Does this sound familiar? I bet it does. You swap out that pesky crankshaft or camshaft position sensor, you turn the key expecting victory, and nothing. Or maybe it's running even rougher than before. You are not alone. And trust me, the fix is often way simpler than you think.
Okay, first things first, don't panic. The absolute key here is to resist that urge to just start guessing and throwing more parts at the problem. Nope. We're going to use what's called a diagnostic funnel, a really methodical process that starts with the most common, easiest stuff and works its way down from there.
So, step one. Before we even think about computers or anything complicated, we have to rule out simple installation mistakes. And I'm telling you, more than half the time, the problem is right here. So let's go back and check your work with fresh eyes. And I mean, really check it. First, that electrical connector. Did you actually hear and feel that solid click when you pushed it on? Second, look at the wiring. Is it possible you pinched a wire under the bolt when you were tightening it? Third, how's the sensor sitting? Is it perfectly flush against the engine block? And finally, just look around. Are there any new oil leaks or anything that could be messing with the signal? And this really says it all, doesn't it? A single loose connector is so often the entire problem. It seems almost too simple to be the culprit, but it happens to literally everyone, even pro mechanics. So just take a minute, go back, and give that thing a good, solid push.
Beyond just the plug, trace that wire back a few inches. Are there any little nicks or scrapes on it? And here's the one everybody seems to forget. Pop open your fuse box. It's totally possible you accidentally shorted something during the install and popped the fuse for that sensor circuit. It's a 2-second check that can save you hours of headache.
All right, so let's say your physical installation is absolutely perfect. You've checked it all, and it's solid. So what's next? Well, now we have to deal with the car's computer, the engine control unit, or ECU.
So what the heck is an ECU relearn? Well, think about it. Your car's computer has been getting bad data from that old failing sensor for a while. It's learned to compensate for it, so when you put a brand new, perfectly good sensor in, the computer is still running on its old bad programming. A relearn basically just wipes the slate clean and tells the computer, hey, listen to this new guy.
Now, you've got a couple of ways to do this. The pro method, of course, is to just plug in an OBD2 scanner and manually clear all the codes. It's fast, it's effective, it's the best way. But if you don't have a scanner, no big deal. You can use the classic DIY method. Just disconnect the negative battery terminal for about 15 minutes. This will also force the computer to reset itself. But wait, it's not always that simple. For some cars, just clearing the codes isn't enough. We have to ask an important question. Does your vehicle need a special synchronization procedure? Yeah, this is a big one on certain cars, especially a lot of GM and Ford models. This is more than just resetting. It's an active calibration. It's like you're fine-tuning the computer to the exact position and signal of your new sensor. The only catch? You almost always need a more advanced professional-grade scan tool to kick off this procedure. The absolute first thing you should do is check your vehicle's service manual to see if this applies to you. Okay. You've checked your physical install, you've reset the computer, and the car still won't start. I get it. This is the point where you might want to throw a wrench. But we have to consider a very real and very frustrating possibility. Maybe the new part you just put in is bad. Seriously, it happens way more often than you'd think. New parts can be defective straight out of the box, especially some of the cheaper aftermarket sensors. You can go down a total rabbit hole trying to diagnose a problem when all along it was just a brand new part that was dead on arrival. So how do you figure this out? Well, the easiest test is number one, if you still have the old sensor and the car at least ran with it, put it back in. If the car starts, boom, you found your problem. Also, take a second to double check the part number. It's so easy to grab a sensor that looks identical, but is just a little bit different electronically. And sometimes you just have to bite the bullet and get an OEM part from the dealer. Finally, it's rare, but sometimes a new cam sensor just won't play nice with an old crank sensor, and they have to be replaced together. So if you've done all that, you've checked the install, the ECU, the part itself, and you're still stuck, it's time to zoom out. We need to broaden the diagnosis. It's possible this sensor was just a symptom of a bigger problem, not the cause. This is where we go back to basics. First, ignition and fuel. Are you actually getting spark at the plugs? Do you have fuel pressure at the rail? Next up, the critical one, engine timing. Is it possible the timing belt or chain jumped a tooth? And finally, let's not overlook the simple stuff. Have you just been cranking the engine so much that the battery is dead now?
And this really gets to why this sensor is so important. It's the conductor of the orchestra. It's the little part that tells the engine's brain the exact moment to fire the spark plugs and inject the fuel. If that signal is bad or missing, the entire system is flying blind, and the engine just can't run.
So let's just recap the whole game plan, our diagnostic funnel. You start simple, check your physical work, then you talk to the computer, reset the ECU. After that, you question the new part itself, and only then, if you're still stuck, do you broaden your search to other major systems. Following this order will save you time, money, and a whole lot of gray hair. So I'll leave you with this final thought. When you look back at that whole process, from checking a simple connector all the way to checking engine timing, which one of those steps do you think gets skipped the most often when people are in a rush? I think the answer to that question is probably the key to your next successful repair.